The last signal. The message arrived at exactly 3:47 a.m. Earth Standard Time, piercing through the usual cosmic background noise like a blade through silk. Dr. Sarah Chen sat bolt upright in her chair at the Deep Space Listening Array, her coffee forgotten as the strange patterns danced across her holographic display. 20 years of listening to the stars had taught her to recognize the difference between random cosmic noise and intentional communication. This was definitely the latter. "Computer, isolate signal pattern and enhance," she commanded, her fingers flying across the haptic interface. The three-dimensional sound wave materialized in the air before her, its structure unlike anything she'd seen before. It wasn't radio waves or electromagnetic pulses. This was something entirely new. The message repeated itself every 12.7 seconds, a complex mathematical sequence that couldn't be natural. Sarah's heart raced as she initiated the first contact protocols she'd rehearsed countless times but never expected to use. Within minutes, the facility's AI had alerted key personnel worldwide. Dr. James Morrison, her mentor and the facility's director, arrived first, his weathered face grave as he studied the signal. "How long has it been broadcasting?" he asked, automatically accepting the cup of fresh coffee Sarah handed him. "Based on the signal strength and degradation patterns, approximately 3 months," Sarah replied, pulling up additional data streams. "But that's not the strange part. Look at this," she gestured, and the holographic display zoomed in on a particular segment of the waveform. "It's not just carrying data, it's carrying emotion." Morrison's eyebrows shot up. "Emotion? That's impossible." "How?" "The signal has quantum-entangled particles embedded within it. They're somehow maintaining coherence across light years of space. When we measure them, they collapse into patterns that our brains interpret as emotional states." Sarah paused, swallowing hard. "Sir, it's terror. Pure, undiluted terror." Within hours, the Deep Space Listening Array's conference room was packed with experts from every relevant field. Military officers sat shoulder to shoulder with physicists, their usual rivalries forgotten in the face of this unprecedented situation. On the main screen, the signal continued its endless loop, now accompanied by the first rough translation attempts. "Help. They kill them in silence. They deviate or lie cheat. Coordinates follow. Please. Ain't I who here. Help." Admiral Helena Rodriguez, the highest-ranking military officer present, leaned forward in her chair. Could this be a trap? Some kind of advanced weaponry masquerading as a distress call? Sarah shook her head. The emotional component can't be faked. Whatever sent this message was experiencing genuine fear. Besides, look at the technology involved. Quantum-entangled communication across interstellar distances. That's centuries beyond our capabilities. Why would anyone that advanced need to trap us? Then why ask for our help? Someone else asked. "We're barely a spacefaring species." "Maybe that's exactly why," Morrison interjected, his voice thoughtful. "We're young, unpredictable. Whatever's threatening them might not know how to handle us." The debate raged for days as more experts arrived, and more data was analyzed. The coordinates pointed to a star system 147 light-years away. The signal's complexity suggested a civilization far more advanced than humanity, yet they were clearly desperate enough to broadcast their plea to anyone who might be listening. Finally, after a week of intense discussion, the United Earth Council called for a vote. The decision was nearly unanimous. Humanity would answer the call. The next month saw the largest mobilization of resources in human history. The UES Prometheus, Earth's most advanced stealth vessel, was quickly retrofitted for deep space travel. Its experimental quantum drive, previously considered too risky for regular use, would now be their only hope of reaching the source of the signal in time. Sarah found herself assigned as the mission's chief communications officer, her expertise in xenolinguistics deemed crucial for any potential first contact situation. As she stood in the observation deck watching the final preparations, Admiral Rodriguez joined her. Having second thoughts, Doctor? The Admiral asked, noting Sarah's pensive expression. Not about going, Sarah replied, watching as another cargo container was loaded into the ship's massive hold, but about what we might find when we get there. The signal. There's something about it that keeps me awake at night. It's not just fear I'm sensing in those quantum particles. It's something deeper, like they're afraid of something that shouldn't exist. Rodriguez nodded slowly. That's exactly why we're sending our best. Whatever's out there, humanity needs to know. And if someone needs help, she trailed off, but the implication was clear. Humanity had spent centuries dreaming of first contact, hoping they weren't alone in the universe. Now that the moment had finally arrived, it came not with celebration, but with a cry for help. As the launch countdown began, Sarah took her place on the bridge alongside the rest of the carefully selected crew. Captain David Chen, no relation, sat in the command chair, his calm presence a steadying influence on the nervous crew. The quantum drive hummed to life, its exotic energy signature making the air itself seem to vibrate. All stations, report readiness, Captain Chen commanded. One by one, the department heads confirmed their status. When it came to Sarah's turn, she took a deep breath. Communications ready, Captain. Signal locked and tracking. Very well. Chen's voice was steady as he gave the final order. Helm, execute quantum jump sequence. Let's go make history. The stars blurred around them as the Prometheus leaped into quantum space, carrying humanity's first interstellar rescue mission toward whatever waited in the silence between the stars. As they accelerated past the speed of light, Sarah could have sworn she felt the quantum-entangled particles in the alien signal pulse with something new. Hope. Shadows in space. The first sign that something was wrong came 3 weeks into their quantum journey. Lieutenant Maria Santos, the Prometheus' sensor specialist, noticed it during her routine sweep, a strange absence of light from a star that should have been there. Not dimmed or obscured, but completely. Dr. Chen, Captain Chen called out, if these things feed on consciousness, why haven't they attacked Earth? We're broadcasting our presence across the galaxy with every radio signal and electronic device. Sarah's eyes widened as the pieces fell into place. Because we're too chaotic, too unpredictable. Look at the signal pattern from the aliens. It's perfectly ordered, mathematically precise. But human consciousness, human emotions, they're messy, complex, impossible to predict. Are you saying our greatest weapon against these things is our own irrationality? Lieutenant Santos asked, a hint of hope creeping into her voice. More than that, Sarah replied, her mind racing. The quantum-entangled particles respond to emotion. What if we could use that? Broadcast our own emotions through a similar quantum network. Captain Chen nodded slowly, understanding dawning on his face. Engineer Patel, how quickly can you modify our quantum drive to act as an emotional broadcaster? Sir, that's incredibly dangerous, Raj warned. We'd be linking our consciousness directly to the quantum field. One wrong move and we could fry our own brains. Do we have a choice? The captain asked quietly, watching as another shadow entity joined the first, both of them probing the ship's weakening defenses. The next hour was a desperate race against time. While Raj and his team modified the quantum drive, the rest of the crew prepared for what would essentially be a psychic battle. Sarah worked with the ship's AI to create a crude interface that would allow them to channel their emotions into the quantum field. The shadow entities seemed to sense what they were planning. Their attacks grew more aggressive, draining power faster than the backup systems could compensate. Hull temperature dropped to near absolute zero where the shadows touched it, and strange whispers echoed through the ship's corridors. Broadcasting array ready, Raj reported, his voice trained. But sir, we'll only get one shot at this. The power requirements are enormous. Captain Chen looked around at his crew, seeing the determination in their faces. All hands, this is the captain. Prepare for quantum emotional broadcast. Focus on what makes you human, your hopes, your fears, your dreams, Everything that makes no logical sense but matters anyway. Stand by to broadcast on my mark. The shadow entities converged on the ship, their darkness beginning to seep through the hull itself. Sarah felt their ancient hunger, their cold intelligence so alien it defied comprehension. But she also felt something else. The warm presence of her crewmates, their consciousness linking together through the quantum field. Now, Chen ordered. The quantum drive flared to life, but instead of propelling them through space, it broadcast the combined emotional energy of 300 human minds directly into the void. The shadow entities recoiled as if struck, their fluid forms disrupting under the assault of human consciousness. Raw emotion flooded the quantum field. Love, anger, fear, joy, hope, all the chaotic complexity of human experience amplified and weaponized. The shadows tried to feed on it, but the energy was too wild, too unpredictable. Where they expected order, they found chaos. Where they sought patterns, they found imagination. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, humanity's emotional strength clashed with ancient cosmic horror. Then, with a silent scream that everyone felt in their bones, the shadow entities fled, retreating into the darkness between stars. As emergency power restored itself and the bridge crew shakily returned to their stations, Sarah realized they had discovered something profound. Humanity's greatest weakness, their emotional, irrational nature, had become their greatest strength, and somewhere ahead of them, where the distress signal still pulsed its quantum message, an alien civilization waited to learn this lesson. Plot a course to the source of that signal, Captain Chen ordered, his voice hoarse but determined. We know how to fight them now, and we have one hell of a story to tell when we get there. Launch of the UES Prometheus, Earth's most advanced stealth vessel. Introduction of Captain Maya Patel and her elite crew. Discovery of devastated alien worlds along their journey. First encounter with the mysterious energy-draining entities known as the Void. Realization that conventional weapons are useless against the threat. The human element. Neural synchronization at 70% and holding. Dr. Sarah Chen reported, monitoring the streams of data flowing across her holographic display. In the ship's converted cargo bay, now dubbed the Mind Space Lab, 30 crew members sat in modified meditation pods, their brainwaves linking through the experimental quantum interface. Chief Engineer Raj Patel's voice came through the comm system, tense but focused. Power consumption is stable, but we're pushing the quantum drive way beyond its design specs. These emotional broadcasts are like nothing we ever tested for. Captain Chen stood at the observation window, watching his crew members as they participated in what could only be described as psychic training. After their first successful defense against the shadow entities, they'd spent 2 weeks developing a more controlled approach to emotional broadcasting. The initial victory had been pure instinct and desperation. Now they needed technique and precision. "Show me the broadcast pattern," the captain requested. The main screen lit up with a complex web of quantum interactions, human emotions translated into energy states that ripple through subspace. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The raw power of human consciousness made visible. Sarah adjusted several parameters, fine-tuning the interface. We're learning that different emotions have different effects. Fear actually makes them stronger. It's what they're used to feeding on. But joy, particularly unexpected joy, seems to disrupt their energy patterns completely. The element of surprise, Lieutenant Santos commented from her station. Even when they adapt to one emotional frequency, we can shift to another. They can't predict what they can't understand. The ship's eye, which they'd taken to calling Ada, interrupted with an urgent alert. Multiple void signatures detected at extreme range. Estimated time to intercept, 45 minutes. Captain Chen's expression hardened. Looks like we're about to get another test run. Dr. Chen, what's the status of the new broadcast array? Ready for deployment. Sarah replied, bringing up the schematics. The new array was a marvel of human improvisation. Part quantum technology, part emotional resonator, and part artistic expression. They discovered that incorporating music and visual arts into the broadcast somehow amplified its effectiveness. All hands, battle stations, Chen ordered. Meditation pod crews, prepare for synchronized emotional broadcast. Everyone else, stand by for support roles. As the crew rushed to their positions, Sarah felt a mix of fear and excitement. Each encounter with the void entities taught them more about both their enemy and themselves. They'd learned that children's laughter was particularly effective at disrupting the shadow's feeding patterns. The simple joy of a sunrise could create quantum ripples that lasted for hours. Even memories of home-cooked meals carried power in their emotional resonance. Contact in 30 minutes, Ada announced. Void entities appear to be using a new approach vector. They are attempting to conceal their presence. They're learning, Sarah muttered, evolving their tactics. So are we, Captain Chen responded. He turned to address the crew on the bridge. Remember your training. Don't try to fight the fear. Acknowledge it, accept it, then transform it. Show them what humanity does with its darkness. The next half hour was a flurry of preparation. In the Mind Space Lab, the meditation pod crews worked through their emotional exercises, building up a reserve of quantum energy. Engineering teams fine-tuned the broadcast array, while the ship's artists, crew members with musical or artistic talents, prepared their contributions to the defense. First contact, Ada reported calmly. 3 void entities, Alpha Quadrant. 2 more approaching from Beta Quadrant. Energy drain beginning. This time, they were ready. As the shadow entities approached, the Prometheus's new defenses activated. The broadcast array came online, channeling the combined emotional energy of the crew. But unlike their first chaotic defense, this was a choreographed performance. It began with a piece of classical music, Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, chosen for its journey from darkness to joy. The meditation pod crews synchronized their emotional states with the music, creating waves of quantum resonance that rippled through space. As the shadows attempted to feed on the ship's energy, they found themselves caught in a web of human expression. They're trying to adapt, Sarah reported, watching the sensor readings, shifting their energy patterns to, wait, something's wrong. The void entities had indeed learned from their previous encounter. Instead of retreating from the emotional onslaught, they began to merge, combining into a larger, more complex form. The temperature on the bridge plummeted as darkness, deeper than space itself, pressed against the ship's hull. Power drain increasing, Raj warned. We can't maintain this broadcast level for long. Captain Chen's voice remained steady. Dr. Chen, initiate protocol chaos. Sarah's fingers flew across her console, implementing the backup plan they'd developed. If order and harmony wouldn't work, they'd try the opposite. The classical music cut off, replaced by a cacophony of sounds and emotions. Children's laughter mixed with heavy metal music, love songs overlapping with war cries, the joy of victory blending with the pain of loss. The effect was immediate and stunning. The merged shadow entity writhed in space, its form destabilizing under the assault of pure human chaos. It had evolved to handle structured emotional attacks. But this was humanity in all its beautiful, messy glory. Maintain broadcast, Chen ordered, even as warning lights flashed across every console. Show them everything we are, everything we feel. Don't hold anything back. Through the quantum interface, Sarah felt the combined consciousness of the crew pouring forth their experiences. Every first kiss, every broken heart, every moment of triumph and defeat. All of it channeled into a weapon that no purely logical being could comprehend. The shadow entity's form began to fracture, breaking apart under the strain. But instead of fleeing, the fragments seemed to dissipate, as if the very substance of their being was dissolving into the quantum fabric of space. Energy readings are extraordinary, Lieutenant Santos reported in awe. The void entities, they're not just retreating. They're being transformed. The quantum resonance is completely rewriting their energy patterns. As the last traces of darkness faded from their sensors, a stunned silence fell over the bridge. They had done more than just defend themselves. They had discovered a way to fundamentally change their enemy's nature through the power of human emotion. All stations, damage report, Captain Chen called out, breaking the silence. As the crew began their assessments, Sarah studied the quantum readings from the encounter. Something about the way the void entities had transformed nagged at her mind. If human emotions could change these ancient cosmic horrors, what else might they be capable of? "Captain," she said slowly, "I think we just discovered why we received that distress signal. Whoever sent it, they didn't just need our help fighting these things. They needed us to show them a new way of existing." Chen nodded thoughtfully. "Then let's not keep them waiting. Plot a course to the signal source, maximum safe speed. It's time humanity shared its greatest strength with the galaxy." "They're asking if we found a way to fight the shadows," Sarah translated. "They can sense the changes we made to their quantum communication technology." "Show them," Captain Chen ordered. "Open a full quantum channel. Let them see exactly what humanity can do." Sarah activated the broadcast array. But this time, instead of weaponizing their emotions, the crew focused on sharing them. Through the quantum interface, they projected the full spectrum of human experience, their fears and hopes, their struggles and triumphs, the beautiful chaos of being human. The response was immediate. The crystalline station pulsed with new energy as the luminous absorbed and processed the human broadcast. Their quantum signatures, which had been fading, began to strengthen. "They're learning from us," Sarah said in amazement. "Their consciousness is evolving, becoming more chaotic, more human-like. The rigid patterns that made them vulnerable to the void entities are breaking down." Captain Chen leaned forward in his chair. "Can they fight back now?" "Better than that," Sarah replied, her eyes wide as she interpreted the quantum data. "They're offering to join with us, to combine their mastery of quantum consciousness with our emotional strength. They want to create something entirely new." A warning klaxon cut through the moment of discovery. Multiple void signatures detected. Lieutenant Santos called out, "Biggest swarm we've ever seen." They must have sensed the luminous changing. "How long do we have?" Chen demanded. "Minutes, maybe less. They're coming from all directions." Sarah felt a surge of determination through the quantum link. "The luminous are ready to fight. They want to synchronize their quantum matrix with our broadcast array. Captain, they want to dance with us." Chen's eyebrows rose. "Dance? Their civilization is built on patterns, on harmony. We showed them chaos. Now they want to show us how to weave that chaos into something new, something neither of our species could create alone." Understanding dawned on the captain's face, a symphony of survival. "All hands, prepare for synchronized quantum broadcast. Engineering, route all available power to the array. Let's show these shadows what happens when humanity and the luminous work together." The void entities arrived like a wave of darkness, countless shadow forms blotting out the stars. But as they approached, something unprecedented began to unfold. From the Prometheus, human emotions poured forth, raw, chaotic, and powerful. From the crystalline station, the luminous added their own consciousness, their mathematical precision giving structure to human chaos. The two forms of energy met in space, interweaving, transforming. Music filled the quantum realm. Human melodies carried on alien harmonies. The crew's emotions flowed through patterns created by the luminous, becoming more than just weapons. They became art. The void entities faltered, confused by what they were witnessing. They had evolved to feed on consciousness, to devour light and thought. But this fusion of human chaos and alien harmony, was unlike anything they had encountered in eons of existence. Sarah felt it all through the quantum link. The wonder of the luminous as they experienced human emotions for the first time, the exhilaration of the crew as they felt their consciousness expanding through alien patterns. Two species meeting in a dance of mind and energy, creating something new in defiance of ancient darkness. The shadow entities began to change. Just as before, their forms started to dissolve. But now, Guided by the luminous understanding of quantum consciousness, the transformation was controlled. The void entities weren't being destroyed. They were being rewritten. Their very nature shifted from consumption to creation. Energy readings are off the scale, Raj reported from engineering. But the pattern is stable. Whatever we're doing, it's working. Through the viewport, they watched as the swarm of shadows transformed into a swirling nebula of consciousness. Not dark, not light, but something in between. A new form of existence, born from the combination of human emotion and alien wisdom. As the last of the void entities transformed, the quantum link filled with a sensation that needed no translation. Gratitude. The luminous had found not just allies in humanity, but teachers. And humanity, in helping them, had discovered that their greatest perceived weakness, their messy, chaotic, emotional nature, was actually their greatest gift to the cosmos. Signal coming in from Earth, Lieutenant Santos announced. They're asking for a status report. Captain Chen smiled, looking out at the transformed space before them. Tell them that humanity just helped rewrite the rules of consciousness itself, and we did it not with weapons or technology. A new dawn. 1 month after the transformation of the void entities, the crystalline station had become a hub of unprecedented activity. The Prometheus's crew worked alongside the luminous, their combined efforts creating technologies that merged the precision of quantum consciousness with the vibrancy of human emotion. Sarah stood in the newly created Harmony Chamber, watching as waves of transformed void energy danced through the crystalline architecture. What had once been agents of destruction now served as conduits of creation, their ancient hunger transformed into a desire to connect and build. The latest transmission from Earth just arrived, Captain Chen announced as he entered the chamber. The United Earth Council has officially approved the establishment of a permanent human presence here. We're calling it the Bridgepoint Station. Sarah nodded, her attention focused on the holographic display showing the spread of their discovery across space. Already, 3 more alien civilizations had reached out after detecting the quantum changes rippling through the galaxy. The void entity's transformation had created a new form of faster-than-light communication, carrying both information and emotion across vast distances. The luminous want to show us something, she said, gesturing to the shifting patterns of light around them. They'd been working on a new form of quantum architecture, one that can house both their consciousness and ours simultaneously. Together, they made their way to the station's central core, where a structure unlike anything human eyes had ever seen was taking shape. It was like looking at emotion given physical form, crystal and energy intertwined in patterns that somehow expressed both mathematical precision and artistic chaos. Lieutenant Santos met them at the core's entrance, her eyes bright with excitement. "You need to see this," she said, leading them inside. The transformed void entities, we've been calling them the harmonics. They're not just carrying messages anymore. They're creating new forms of consciousness. Inside the core, they found Raj deep in conversation with several luminous, their quantum signatures interweaving as they shared ideas. Around them, the harmonics flowed like rivers of starlight, their once destructive nature now nurturing the growth of something unprecedented. "We're calling it the consciousness web," Raj explained, gesturing to a massive holographic display. Every transformed void entity becomes a node in the network, connecting different species and civilizations. But here's the incredible part. They're not just transmitting our existing thoughts and emotions. They're helping us create new ones. Sarah stepped closer to the display, watching as points of light representing different civilizations pulsed and connected. New emotions. Is that even possible? "We didn't think so," one of the luminous replied through the quantum link, their thoughts carrying the sensation of joy that felt both alien and familiar. "But human consciousness showed us that emotion isn't fixed. It evolves, combines, creates. The harmonics are helping us explore the space between your chaos and our order." Captain Chen studied the display thoughtfully. "And these new consciousness forms, they're stable." "More than stable," Raj answered. "They're revolutionary. Imagine feeling something that's both joy and mathematics, or experiencing the quantum structure of hope. We're not just communicating with other species anymore. We're evolving together. The implications were staggering. Humanity had entered space hoping to find other life, prepared for either friendship or war. Instead, they had become catalysts for a transformation that was reshaping the very nature of consciousness in the universe. Message from the harmonics. Lieutenant Santos called out suddenly. They're detecting more void entities approaching from the galactic core. Thousands of them. But there was no fear this time. Through the quantum link, Sarah felt only anticipation from the luminous. The approaching shadows weren't a threat. They were being drawn to the transformation, seeking to evolve like their brethren. They're coming home, she realized. Everything the void entities consumed over the eons, all that consciousness, all that light, it's finding a new form through us. Captain Chen smiled. Then let's welcome them properly. Signal the fleet. It's time to show the galaxy the full potential of human emotion. Over the next few hours, they watched as the combined consciousness of humanity and the luminous reached out through the harmonics, touching the approaching void entities. Each transformation was unique, guided by the chaotic beauty of human emotion and the precise patterns of luminous thought. The galaxy was changing. Where once there had been isolated pockets of life and consciousness, separated by vast gulfs of empty space, now there was connection. The very darkness that had threatened to devour all light had become the medium through which consciousness could flourish and grow. You know what this means, Sarah said quietly to Chen as they watched another wave of void entities transform. We're not just exploring space anymore. We're helping it evolve. The captain nodded. And to think, all of this happened because we answered a distress call. Because when someone asked for help, humanity said yes. Through the quantum link, Sarah felt the luminous sharing a new emotion, one that had no name in any human language. It was a feeling that combined gratitude, wonder, and the joy of creation, all wrapped in the mathematical beauty of quantum harmonies. As the transformed void entities joined the consciousness web, their ancient hunger finally satisfied by the act of creation rather than consumption, Sarah realized that this was just the beginning. Humanity had brought its greatest gift to the cosmos, not their technology or their weapons, but their capacity to feel, to change, to grow. The universe would never be the same, and neither would they. In the space around Bridgepoint Station, the harmonics danced like aurora across the stars, carrying the combined dreams of 1,000 civilizations yet to meet. The darkness between stars had become a canvas for consciousness itself, painted with emotions both ancient and newborn. Humanity had reached for the stars hoping to find their place in the cosmos. Instead, they had helped the cosmos find a new way to exist, one where light and shadow, chaos and order, emotion and logic all danced together in an endless symphony of creation. It was, Sarah reflected as she watched new consciousnesses bloom across space, perhaps the most human thing they could have done. The final battle against the void using a massive synchronized emotional broadcast. Revelation that the void feeds on fear and emptiness. Humanity's capacity for hope and determination becoming the ultimate weapon. Victory through the combined emotional strength of two civilizations. Establishment of the first human-alien alliance and the beginning of a new era of space exploration.